basically, whichever teams are able to pick apart EG's failures here are going to be the big winners of the offseason. The only other ability to be the big winner is if you're EG and you don't f this up. Okay, you don't f up your world championship team. Okay, but I actually wanted to ask you about this, Sean, because I was thinking about this. I was talking to some people too. I was really hard on EG because I feel like, look, I've seen what the deterioration of the brand as a whole from when Alex Garfield, someone who I've known for a very long time, who I've looked up to for a very long time, running and creating EG to be the #1 team in North America for all of esports, and to see how far EG has fallen to now. And then you get the news that they are not going to pay the players what they want to, and they just win the world championship after going on an incredible run. The whole thing seems insane to me, so I gave EG a lot of shit. However, if the EG players from, some rumors are that they are looking for, I don't know, between 20 to 30K a month in terms of salaries, which would be a huge raise from what they're making now. Given the current financial situation within esports, is EG potentially in the right here to not want to pay them?
I think...
Where's the line in terms of what those guys can ask for?
Yeah, I think it really depends, obviously, what their peers are they probably know better than we do, like what their peers are getting paid and what their market value is. I don't know right now, given all of the recent kind of like economic issues in esports, what the market value for a top level player is. I know coming into franchising, players were getting paid like 40, 50K a month. Like that was super common. That was super common for like
many. There was a few.
There
a
was.
Few. I wouldn't say
it was definitely a handful. Definitely a handful. And
you can think of the names already of who that was.
And I think like those days seem to be behind us right now. I think if they wanted to up their salaries in some kind of way, they should probably ask for like bigger cuts of like microtransactions or, different ways that the org can kind of inflate their brand value, whether that be like creating merch for them or pushing them on socials in certain ways, which isn't huge with EG. But there's a lot of other ideas if the players want to get paid more, and you would still, both parties would win, right? Because if you increase the percentage from the microtransactions, that's assuming that they're going to qualify, right? Because in order to get the Champions Bundle skin, you have to make champions. So thus your team is successful. I feel like that would be a good compromise for a team like EG, but we're not really privy to this info. So I don't know. This is just purely speculating. I mean, we were told that there was going to be a 50% pay cut from what they were making. So we're not even talking about getting more money. We're talking about getting fucking significantly less money than what they were making.
Yeah, I mean, that I think is totally absurd. Like, to not even get the same salaries that they're making, but to go lower is crazy. Not just because they won the world championship. Because as we talked about, like, who the best players in the world were, Demon 1 not only was Rookie of the Year, but he was so good, including being Champions MVP, that he is one of the best players in the world now, and a star duelist.
True.
And you have Ethan, who is top 10, easily top 10, top 5 player in the world. So not only do they have a championship team, they have 2 of the top 5 players. You cannot not only pay them less, you got to at least pay them the same. And look, if I'm EG and you had to prioritize, it seems like Demon 1 and Ethan are the 2 you have to have priority on. Even if they're asking for the 20, 30, 40K a month.
Yeah.
Or if you're the GM,
they're all pretty valuable in my eyes. So like,
of course.
They're all super valuable for that run. And I understand
you got to play GM, Sean. I need GM Seangares right now. Okay? Yeah. You have a limited amount of money. Esports is being destroyed across the entire industry. All right, your CEO is gone. All right, you might be sold to another venture capital firm or China or Saudi Arabia or something. All right, what are you gonna do? It seems like you EG would want to have to try to at least keep some of the players. You got to keep some of them happy. If you can't keep all of them happy, and you can't keep the entire roster, I feel like you got to try to at least get a couple. You can't have the entire team go. You cannot have Boostio and Com go to 100 Thieves, and then Demon One or Ethan go to NRG. That would be a disaster, a total disaster.
I don't know. I don't know how they maintain anyone other than maybe like Jog. Maybe they keep Jog, and I think like all of
that's not enough.
Like because they would, in order to keep Demon One, they're gonna have to throw the fucking bag. They're gonna have to throw the bag big time.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
he deserves a fucking bag.
But that's the thing. If money is an issue, yes. But dude, if they don't have the money, throwing the bag at one player and then budgeting up the other 4 slots sounds like the worst idea ever. And honestly,
like
Demon One would go giga toxic probably on his teammates. He would probably be fucking rubbing their faces in the dirt because it would be so fucking dumb. So that would be literally like the worst case scenario for EG. And they're probably going to do it. They're probably going to throw the bag at Demon One. He's the only one they can afford. They're going to go budget on the rest of the roster, and they're going to implode by week 3. But I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, like, what the play is for them. Like, they have to, if they're going to retain people, then they got to retain, like, at least 2 to 3. At least 2 to 3. But if they don't retain 2 to 3, I feel like you just let them all go at that point. You just let them all go.
Do you let Demon One go and you keep... So, okay, if you had, let's say you had the choice, you keep Demon One, and you almost have to let go the entirety of the team. Maybe you're able to keep Jog too. So Jog and Demon One, or you let Demon One go, but you're able to keep the core of the team. Let's just say Ethan, Boostio, and Com. Which one are you choosing?
Ethan, Boostio, and Com, or who was the other
Demon
option?
One and Jog.
Dude.
Is Demon One star potential so good that he deserves it all?
I feel like you would go with the 3, but man, I feel like letting someone go like Demon One would be rough. Yeah, I think because at the very least, if you keep the 3 that you mentioned, like you keep the structure of the team, you just need like another like star aimer, which you can get star aimers, but can you get ones that are like...
At the price that they're offering,
no,
you're not getting Asmus. You're not getting Yay.
I think star aimers in Valorant are like a dime a dozen. I really do. But what's rare about Demon One is that he doesn't collapse in big moments, and he's
a rookie. That is so impressive.
Like this guy is like a robot, right? Like he's different. He's different than the other top duelists. And because of that, like that really terrifies me about like letting a player like that go. Because like I feel like he's gonna be good for a long fucking time based on what I just saw. I don't know.
It's because he was born in Russia.
Probably.
You know, that is why he's born in Russia and he comes from an arena FPS background. All right. And as someone who's very experienced in that, I know that those guys have no fear, no pressure, no nerves, no problem. And you're not gonna find another Zoomer like that.
Do you think like FNS is just waiting to come in and just swoop this EG spot with Som? Just like a thief in the night, just take it over.
It would make sense. FNS would definitely accept the lower salary. I think at this point that would be okay with him. I think I'm pretty sure like Vanity's taking a pretty lower salary on Cloud9. I think that FNS is in the same position. And I think Som actually had a really great year. I think Som's performance was really good, and he's a pretty big star in terms of his own right, his own stream, his own YouTube, so that he could command a pretty high salary. But I feel like if he really wants to play with FNS, he would accept a lower salary to just be able to play with FNS on a new team. So that would kind of make some sense.
A lineup goes pretty hard in the chat. FNS, Som, Jog, Demon One, Ethan. was fucking
Okay,
hard.
I do not think, based on everything we've heard, that EG is able to sign both Ethan and Demon One. I think that is the biggest decision they have to make. Who are they going to pay? Who is more important to the identity of the team, the leadership of the team, and their ability to win a championship? Is it Ethan or is it Demon One?
I think that as these slots start to get gobbled up and players start to get signed and confirmed, the pressure for the players to not be left out in this game of musical chairs is going to make them accept lower offers. It's just a matter of time. Like,
and the economics, of course, are all pointing towards players are going to have to accept the reality that lower salaries are inevitable. They are coming. There's no way around this. So okay, but if you're EGGM, who are you picking between the two? Forget the 3 players and 2 players. Just strictly Ethan or Demon One. Who are you keeping?
Ethan or Demon One? Are you making me choose? Why are you making me choose?
You gotta choose.
Why? What's the point?
The EG has to basically choose, so you gotta choose.
You're just making shit up.
That's the whole point of esports and sports. Yes, you just make shit up. You throw hypotheticals out there. That's where the fun is. And this is probably the most reasonable scenario for EG. They cannot afford both. They are the 2 most expensive players on the team. They are the 2 most important pieces on the team, and they are the 2 best players on the team. So if you could only choose one, who are you keeping?
Listen, I'm the type of GM to take Demon One out to dinner, tell him to pay for dinner, but low-key he's signing the contract. He thinks he's signing the bill, but he just signed. He signed for 3 years league min. That's the type of GM I am. Does that answer your question? And then I give Ethan the bag.
Damn, 100 Thieves should have kept you on. You would have swindled those guys.
Yep.
You would have saved Nate Shot a whole bunch of money. If I had to be truly honest with myself, and I have really spoken so highly of Demon One. Of course, I love him being an Unreal Tournament player at heart, as a Quake player myself. There's no one else out there that is like this. I love his bravado. I love how he talks all this shit and backs it up. And for him to do it as a rookie is really incredible. But I don't think that you can replace the stability and the experience and the poise of Ethan. I feel like in terms of who would be an easier time to replace, as you were saying, there are a dime a dozen duelists, and that getting another Demon One is going to be really fucking hard. But trying to do that for Ethan, I think, is going to be even harder, even more difficult of a process. So if I had to choose, I think EG should prioritize Ethan. Also, he has a longer history with the organization, being on their Counter-Strike team, winning a championship on the Counter-Strike team. So he's been there longer. I think he probably has seniority as well.
Honestly, it's probably whoever Potter works best with, because they're both great players. They're both all-stars in their role, which is why this is so difficult. It's not like Counter-Strike where we all have the same abilities and everyone's the same, and you can just pick a star player. This is yes, you need a star duelist, but yes, you also need a star initiator. The star initiator, you would argue, might actually be more valuable because they could make a duelist look better. So I'm leaning Ethan, but I do think Demon One is a very special talent. I would probably lean towards Ethan, though, in this particular thing. Get all things equal, right? I don't know what Ethan's mental state is with EG right now. If he's totally checked out and he's over it, or if Demon One is totally checked out and he's over it, that totally changes everything. But we don't know that info. We don't know.
No. And that actually has been very interesting in terms of what has been coming out and what has not come out. There has been nothing on the EG players. There has been nothing reported. I have no inside information in terms of where potentially they can go. This is all speculation in terms of what would be the best fit for those guys and what teams need, what players the teams need and what roles. I feel like that has been kind of done intentionally. I believe
shit.
they all have the
Fry.
same agent. I believe they all have the same agent.
That's so sick.
And there is an intentional secrecy to what has been happening in terms of where those players can go. Additionally, I think because all this news came out late, all the GMs from the other teams are now scrambling to figure out what to do, because they were all either signing other players already or in the process of negotiating talks with other players. And now you have a bunch of stars from the World Champions that are all potentially available. And now every other GM has to like rethink what they're doing here.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess right now, like EG is really trying to negotiate with all of them on like an individual level, just because that serves them best. And they're probably like, you know, definitely conceding certain areas in renewing the contract and trying to get them to stay. Probably like, you know, let me just pretend I'm the GM of EG. We're a family. We're a family, Rod. Don't you want to sign to us and stay as a family? Like, is it really all about the bag for you? Like, come on. We're boys. Right? We're a family. Don't you want to sign?
If you're
run
the
it back?
players,
You're gonna give it up that quick?
Well, Sean, if you're
that's what's happening right now.
Are you signing for lower?
Class.
If you could stay together?
It depends what time of my life and which childhood traumas I've worked through or not, Rod. Are they going to guilt me and peer pressure me in? Probably. In most of the stages of my life, I'm not strong enough to get past this. I'm probably literally working for free.
I mean, every player on that team is really young, right? Like Ethan's like only 23 or 22?
Is Ethan only 22?
How old
There's
is
no
Ethan?
way. There's no
23.
way.
Ethan is 23.
What?
I'm telling you, they're all super young. Demon is, I believe, 19 or 20.
I didn't know Ethan was that young. What?
Yeah,
I thought he was like 25,
man.
26.
No. Young boy. Jog is 24. Boostio, 22. And Com is 23. So they're all 24 and younger. You've got to think the bag is as or more important than winning the championship, especially now that they've won a world championship. Right? None of them are in their 30s. None of them are like at the end of the road to the last dance, like an FNS or an Angel.
Yeah, but think about the merch that EG could cook up. Just think about it. What other org can cook up merch like that? Huh?
Good point, Sean. Didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, when I said like, oh yeah, maybe they could get like a merch thing in their contract, someone in chat was like, do you remember what their merch was like? I was like, oh fuck, I'm an idiot. I'm like,
Also, you mentioned it. I didn't even think about it. What about FNS and Sam to 100 Thieves?
I mean, I think personally, Boostio right now is the hotter commodity just because.
I mean, of course.
Super skilled IGL. He's worked with Zix, who's now your head coach.
Yeah,
I think
true. That's probably That's a big part. That's a big part of it.
Sam has role overlap with Bang, who is like your star young talent, right? Like you probably want to keep Bang in a controller role because that's kind of what he's been molded into. And then you have Austin on this like flex role, probably Cryo on Duelist. And they're just trying to like fill out these slots. And it works out really well too with Boostio. It would have worked out with FNS too because he plays Senti. But Boostio plays Senti and that like fits in perfectly, right? Like, which I guess it would have worked too with FNS, yeah. I think like the roles just work really well with these 100 Thieves pickup.
You're definitely right on that. And the coach matters a lot.
100 Thieves and Sentinels might have won the America's off-season right now. I guess we have to wait to see like how the teams pan out, but I would say 100 Thieves is up there regardless of who they pick out of like EU, COM, or BCJ. I feel like that's like win-win-win for them. Like it's probably just whoever gels best with the team. But I think either way, that's a huge win for them in the offseason. Whereas like Cloud9, huge question marks. You're not really sure how that's going to play out. Same thing goes with like NRG, huge question marks. You really don't know how that's going to play out. You know, like
High potential. It really comes down to what's happening with EG.
Yeah.
It really comes down to what is going to happen with EG, if they're going to be able to like keep the team, and if they don't keep the team, where are all the parts of the team going to go? And whichever teams get those parts are automatically going to be at the top of the table in terms of expectations.
Yeah. Well, I guess the one thing EG has going for them is like they don't have that like, you know, championship complacency, because they won't even have their same team. You know, like, you know, when like a championship team wins and they just get really complacent.